Hi guys, Brand here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today, we're going to be talking about my least favorite Survivor strat, at least as of late, that I've been seeing just out there in the DBD realm. Whenever I run into somebody playing this way while I'm playing Killer, it's just kind of like the most infuriating and frustrating thing I have to deal with in the game right now that just makes me incredibly mad. And I had a specific situation with a match on Gideon Meatpacking Plant, which, you know, is in itself already an annoying map that really highlighted this to me. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about my least favorite Survivor strat, at least recently. So what Survivor strat has been on my nerves lately, what has been making me mad, I'm sure you guys have run into people running this exact thing, is somebody will run one of the best exhaustion perks in the game, so that usually being Sprint Burst or Lithe, which is already, you know, incredibly strong and fine, but, you know, people run meta, you know, just like, you know, survivors like to run Sprint Burst Lithe, killers like to run Pop, Pain Res, and stuff like that. That's, you know, that's a meta discussion, that's a different thing, but there's a specific pairing that ends up happening that ends up, like, really, like, aggravating me and frustrating me, is when they pair this with either a toolbox with brand new parts, or, you know, they pair it with a bunch of gen perks, like Prove and stuff like that. And they just, what they do is they just sit on the gen, and they greed the gen, and then they greed the gen, and then they greed the gen. And you, as a killer, like, obviously, your job is to go up and push people off said gens, because your job, ultimately, even though your name is Killer, your ultimate job is to defend the generators and prevent them from getting done. It just so happens that killing the survivors happens to be the best way to go about, you know, achieving that goal. So you go, you run over, you try to push the person off the gen, but the moment you get even remotely close, either they just sprint burst away to like 4 tiles away, or they hit that window and it's essentially like sprint burst and then they're just like 4 tiles away. But either way, what they end up doing is essentially the moment you get even slightly close, they get to use their swanky toolbox, put the BNP in, use it for the Commodious or Engineers all the way through, get the whole bar done and deplete it, and then they run away and then they just speed away. So there wasn't really much you could have done to stop them from enacting this, because that's kind of like the one of the few things you can do against like a good toolbox is like, well, if I find the person before they use it, I can try to, you know, down them and hook them and then start pressuring the rest of the team. But you can't even do this when they're running this in tandem, because they just, you know, it's like, well, I get guaranteed value out of my toolbox because, you know, if you try to stop me, I'm just going to zoom away and mog speed. So there's not much you can do about it. And it basically boils down to like, hey, were you playing Nurse? Were you playing Spirit, or were you playing Blight? Like, unless you're playing like a top 3 character in the game, the survivors do essentially just get to get away with this. And it gets even worse because what I've seen a lot of people do that run this strat is they'll run like a really, really strong toolbox, but on their build as well, they'll also have built to last. So they're not only doing this once, but they're doing this multiple times. So they'll power through part of a gen with the toolbox. You try to stop them. You sprint burst into like a main building like Garden of Joy that you can't really follow them into, because that's going to be like a minute long plus chase, because, well, it's Garden of Joy main building. So you make the right killer choice and you say, hey, maybe that's not a good, you know, chase investment. Maybe that's going to be too much of a time investment. I'm going to drop chase with them. I'm going to go find somebody else. Meanwhile, the moment that you drop chase with that person, the first thing they do is they hop in a locker, charge the toolbox back, and then they go get to essentially do this all over again. So if you run into them again, you're like, oh, okay, well, now I just zoom away again, now that my toolbox is back, and I've already been able to get value out of my toolbox because, you know, built to last. And it's just, I don't know, I find it just to be kind of like a very crummy, very like cheesy play style that, you know, it's one of those things where you don't really see this a lot in, you know, competitive play because, you know, perks are limited and that sort of thing. So it's not even like a comp thing. It's just like people just taking advantage of the fact that, like, hey, you can just cheese this stuff in pub matches. This you can just cheese the game really easy if you do this. And it's not even like, it's not even fun, right? Because like, at least like for all the things that I hate about Made for this, like, at least most of the time they're looping with me. And believe me, I got super frustrated the other night. I was chasing somebody through Dead Dog main building, which becomes basically an infinite if you have Made for this. But at least we were looping. At least I was in a chase. Like, these people that just like greed a gen until the last second and then sprint burst like 4 tiles away, like, that's not even chasing. Like, they just don't want to play the game. They just don't want to interact with you at all. And it's just frustrating. I find it just really irritating. The situation that I had specifically that brought this to my attention, I am top 5 xenomorph in the world as of time of recording in terms of total tail attacks. So I play a lot of killer off stream nowadays because I'm trying to like keep those numbers up. And I was playing off stream, and I was sent to Gideon Meatpacking Plant, which, you know, is always a good start. And there was this Nia who was running, you know, Sprint Burst, you know, commodious, brand new part, charges, and a built to last on her build as well. And anytime I would get even remotely close to her, like I would find her on the map somewhere, she'd just zoom away, right? Just like she's already got her brand new part on the gen. She's already, you know, extinguished her toolbox, which she's just going to go build to last it later. But she just zoom. You just zoom off the gen. Okay, well, I'm going to go chase you, right? Because, you know, at least the meatpacking plane is a relatively small map, so it's not like, you know, Batum or something like that, where if they do that and they get super far away, it might just be not worth chasing at all. But because we're on a meatpacking plant, the homie ended up, when I finally caught up to him after the sprint burst was over, just started pre-dropping every single pallet. Just literally like from like 6-8 meters away, just chucking those things. Pre-dropping all those pallets, so I could, like, so even though their exhaustion perk was up, it was just such a big time sink to chase them because they were just pre-dropping. I'm like, okay, well, fine, I don't chase you then. But like I said, I would drop chase with her, go, chase somebody else, and, you know, she would hop in her locker, get her built to last, get her toolbox back, slam another gen, and then, you know, if I tried to chase her again, sprint burst. If I actually chased her through the sprint burst, she pre-drop. And it's just like, are you that allergic to playing the game? Would it actually kill you to loop for like a second or two? Are you so bad at the video game that the only way you have found success is by avoiding playing the game as much as possible? It's just like, it's the thing that, like, you know, as like a lot of things that we talk about here in terms of like balancing, and not only just here, but in the DVD community in general, is like, what did you do to earn ABC, right? That's one of the things that people find super frustrating about Made for This. It's not really earned. You just gotta get hit and it just happens, right? You didn't really earn that. Whereas something like, you know, Pain Res, you gotta, like, you know, not tunnel the team. You gotta, like, 4-hook everybody. There's something to be said about, like, you know, just standing at the hook and cycling through all your hooks. But for the most part, like, you do have to play a certain way that is healthy to get full Pain Res value, and then the perk slot's dead after that. So with this playstyle in particular, it does require nothing. There is no effort. Sprint Burst doesn't require any sort of thought on your part if you're using it in that manner, where you're just trying to, like, just zoom off a gen to be safe. The toolbox doesn't require any effort whatsoever. You just kind of got blood points from a previous match, and now you just get to use it in this match to make my life harder, even though I didn't do anything. And using the built to last to just hop in and just get it right back, it's just like, I don't know. No aspect of this requires any sort of effort on the survivor's part. It's just, okay, A, I don't have to loop, I don't have to interact with the killer at all, and B, I just win the game, tee-hee. And it's just like, I don't know, I find this playstyle exceptionally infuriating whenever I run into it, so I don't know. I just kind of wanted to rant and be upset about it. Because I have a YouTube channel, and it's a channel where I talk about things, so I wanted to talk about it. Yeah, have you guys run into this out in the wild? Have you seen this playstyle? Does it frustrate you? Or is this going to be like the immersing playstyle video where I'm going to get like 40 comments about people like, I'm a lifelong immerser. Screw you, Mr. Streamer, Mr. YouTuber. You think you can tell me not to hide in a bush and let all my teammates get tunneled? You're rude. Let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I do upload daily though, so I will see you tomorrow. But if I do not, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.